The 1994 film, Wes Craven's New Nightmare, I always found this to be entertaining. This is a nice improvement considering just how awful the last installment was. And not only that, this also was a nice refreshing take on the character in this long run franchise as well. I personally like what the late Wes Craven did with this entry, and I really do appreciate Wes Craven's vision for this movie because he didn't let New Line Cinema turn this into a reboot. So, a story about this one, it takes place in the real world. Freddy Krueger begins to become a real entity, targeting the crew and cast of the people who have made films about him. And from there is, without question, one of the darkest films in the series. I personally always thought this was interesting because when this film had came out, this franchise was in bad shape. Part 6 was hated by a lot of fans out there. Freddy Krueger himself was a complete mockery of a character. So Wes Craven, who had also written the script, he had to do this 360 so that Freddy Krueger would actually feel like a serious threat again. Not only that, but this is also a tribute to the original movie, having quotes and recreations of the most famous scenes. It is no wonder this is regarded as one of the best horrors of the 1990s. I honestly believe this was the right way to take the franchise after how disappointing Part 6 was. In fact, the series really started to decline since Part 4, with all the other two entries just being over the top cartoonish. This was a nice return to form. Now I have to admit that Robert Englund, he did such a great job portraying Freddy here. He's more menacing, he's more evil, he's less comical. This is what the late Wes Craven had intended the character to be in the beginning before he became too over the top. Like, don't get me wrong, I do like Freddy when he's throwing out puns, but with it being darker, that was the right direction. And speaking of Wes Craven, his performance in this film, it was good. He's writing a new script. Heather Langenkamp, she did such a great job in this movie. Her acting is a lot better here compared to her previous two times in this franchise. But she's a mother. She's trying to take care of her son Dylan. She's getting these harassing phone calls. She's getting stalked. But then when Freddy Krueger starts to pass over into the real world, she realizes that the nightmare becomes all too real for her. Dowling, he's such a creepy child. Props to the actor that had played him. He definitely had creeped me out more than once because he did such a good job. It is unfortunate that we wouldn't get a follow-up to this. I'm not saying this needed a sequel, of course not. I mean, they were busy with Freddy vs. Jason, so it makes sense why they didn't focus on another solo outing for Freddy Krueger. But I like the cinematography, the music is haunting, and there is a lot of moments in the film that are memorable. Is this one of the best in the franchise? I'll say it's up there because it's not as funny, it's dark, it has a lot of crazy moments peppered throughout the narrative. And while this film isn't as great compared to Part 1 or even Part 3, I still think there is a lot of substance here to make it worthwhile for any Nightmare on Elm Street fan out there. I'm giving this film a 7 out of 10. Yeah, I like how meta this one feels, especially considering some of the actors are playing fictionalized versions of themselves. Particularly the late John Saxon, he did such a good job in the role, and he himself thought it was the last film in the Elm Street saga, which kind of makes sense because where else was they going to go after this? We all know that Freddy Krueger would end up fighting Jason Voorhees in a crossover 9 years later. But I really like how this film went all out and made Freddy Krueger scary again, and that's what this series honestly needed. And that's my review of Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Alright, leave your comments down below in the section and let me know what you think about this movie. Okay, this is Slim Guy 172 saying peace out.